What's up, what's up, what's up? It's Curry Spice back on another video. I just left from work and feeling pretty good about today's work day. Feeling really good about it. Everything takes repetition and I'm gonna learn everything I need to learn in due time, but I'm feeling pretty good. I have my day 3 of training, which is my final day of training. However, the training is ongoing because I have the student mentality and there's still so much to learn and I'm still a sponge. So the training continues even though I'm officially done with training. Right now it's like around 6:36 p.m. and I have about an hour and a half to get home because I'll be taking the bus. But I had something weighing on my mind, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. But I'm gonna wait until I'm behind closed doors. So I worked on my tablet, my work tablet, trying to get everything together, and yeah, I did really good. I really wanted to make sure I focused on the tablet, because it was my very first day of training on the tablet. So I really wanted to make sure I got it right. And I did pretty good. I got the hang of it pretty fast. So I'm trying to keep that repetition going. So what I want this episode to be about is not so much about my job, because I covered that a little bit earlier in the episode, but I really want to talk about body shaming. Give me a moment. So, let me give you some backstory. So, growing up, I've been a twig. Like, I was just stick thin. And I was thin up until I was about 18. Actually, no, more like 20. When I was 20, that's when my weight started to change. So I started to gain a few extra pounds here, a few extra pounds there. So before my pregnancies, about 20 years old, I was at about, I say, 130 or so. And then once I became pregnant, that was a deal breaker, like, for my body. Because I gained 60 pounds. And that's when I really started to deal with weight. That's when I really started to have weight issues. But I mean, when I was thin as a kid, I still had weight issues, but it was different. It was different because I was always thin and I had a complex about it, because people will always bring to my attention, like, they would just be very concerned about how much I eat, because I was so thin that they thought I was anorexic. So I know what it feels like to be skinny shamed, and I also know what it feels like to be fat shamed, because I've been on both sides on more than one occasion for each. So my weight has fluctuated throughout my life, and in the very beginning of my life, like I said, I've been stick thin. So when people have seen me grow up, they know me as being extremely thin. So when they see me now, they see that I've gained weight. They're like, wow, you filled out. My daughter came in. So once I was pregnant with my first daughter, I used the eating for two excuse. It's my very first pregnancy and my first live birth, I should say. And I was really excited to be a new mom, and I love food. I've always loved food, even though I've always been kind of a bit of a picky eater, but I've gotten better with that over the years. I always hated vegetables, but now into my adulthood, I'm starting to appreciate vegetables, and I know that they're very important. So yeah, so I gained 60 pounds with my first pregnancy, and then I actually ended up at 193 pounds just before I gave birth to my first daughter. And people don't believe that I was like nearly 200 pounds. And then the breastfeeding helped me lose about maybe like somewhere between 26 to 28 pounds. And like with the breastfeeding, the weight just glided off. But then I hit like I don't know if you want to say like a plateau, where the breastfeeding it stopped working after I lost that 26 to 28 pounds. I didn't lose any more weight breastfeeding. And I breastfed for about a year and a half. No. I breastfed for, I think for about a year and a half. And so I actually kept that pregnancy weight on as like a crutch. Even though I hated the way I looked because I wasn't used to being heavy set. I wasn't used to being obese. But I was chubby. I became chubby after my first pregnancy, and like I said, I kept it on for about a year and a half, and then I used the incentive of. Some of Daddy's sources. Okay, baby. I used the incentive of my daughter came in. I used the incentive of my brother-in-law's wedding was coming up. He was engaged and all that stuff, and I took his upcoming wedding as an opportunity to lose weight. And then, which was good for me. It was a good little incentive. So then I lost about 15 pounds by the time the wedding arrived. And I was still a little on the chubby side, but not as chubby as before I started working out. So I felt accomplished. Just slowly getting my confidence back. Not all the way there, but it was like, okay, I was coming around. And then somehow, I don't remember, it was kind of foggy after that. But some way, somehow, I ended up losing the weight. I lost more weight even after the wedding. And then, but I fluctuated. So I've had these periods in my life where I've exercised. And during my first pregnancy, I did not exercise. I did everything wrong. I completely took my body for granted. I didn't exercise, didn't eat right. I just did whatever the fuck I wanted. I really milked the pregnancy card. I really did. And it was my first pregnancy. So with my second pregnancy, I did everything completely opposite from how I did it with the first pregnancy. I ate better, moderated my portions. I believe it was kind of difficult, but I still made it work. I only gained about 40 pounds. I exercised throughout the entire pregnancy, and I wasn't that heavy after giving birth. I only to my second child, I only gained 40 pounds, which was just what I needed to gain. No extra weight. And then the weight just came off like that. Like both my daughters were born in October. So with my second daughter, I continued to exercise, not only throughout the pregnancy, but as soon as I was done giving birth. I continued on my workout regimen while I was healing. You know, my womb was shrinking back down to size. And I'm telling you, by Christmas, I was a twig. I was a stick figure. And I was like closer to my high school weight, you know. So I know what it feels like to be like one of those supermodels, one of those celebrities where they just had a baby, and then just shortly after the baby is born, they're like back to being a twig, and it's like, wait, were you even pregnant? You know, so I've seen it on both sides. I've been critiqued about my weight. I definitely have throughout my life. And before I get into that, so my weight has yo-yoed. I was thin, then I gained weight in my during my college years. So I've been up and down, up and down. I've been not exactly thin, like relatively thin throughout my college years. But then something about when I hit the university, then my weight really just like, I was thin maybe halfway through, then the other half, like my senior year or so. Actually, no. I think in my junior year, somewhere, I ended up blowing up. I ended up gaining weight. And it was just the stress of the all-nighters and, you know, like just normal college stresses, normal college stressors that you could imagine, because it's not easy being a college student. And I needed a way to cope, because school was just really making me pull my hair out with, you know, like these certain courses I had to take, like I think they call them core classes I had to take in the beginning. And it was kind of reminded me of like a GE kind of setup, where I was like forced to take a class that wasn't in my major, and I really hated that. It was so annoying. And then I'm like, why am I taking this? It doesn't, like, I was forced to choose pagan culture. Actually, someone recommended it to me. It was a counselor, and I went with it and then regretted it. And then I was stuck in the class because I had already received the financial aid. So I was stuck in the class. I was forced to pass. And I did pass, but I freaking hated that class. So it was like little things like that. And it just made me just really get stressed out about school. And that was like in the first year I knocked out all my core classes, which is kind of similar to GEs. But I think a majority of my core classes, I believe, were in English, with the exception of that one, yeah. But yeah, so once I gained weight in the university, you know, like just eating whatever the hell I wanted, and if I wanted another slice of pizza, I just grab it. And I would eat up to maybe 3 to 4 slices. I would just keep eating and eating and eating until my stomach just felt like it was about to explode. So there was no cap on it. You know, there was no portion moderation. So one day when I looked in the mirror, I did not like what I saw. I didn't like it, and I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to lower my cholesterol and all this stuff, and I've been, as of recent years, I've been interested in becoming vegan. I still haven't made it there yet, but I'm slowly working my way there. So I've been more interested in eating healthy, and want to go back to that like thinner frame that I've had before. So during my senior year, I decided to exercise, eat right, do everything I need to do. And this was during one of the most stressful times, where I wanted food for comfort, but I was moderating my portions because I was on a diet. But surprisingly, I was actually able to make it work. I lost 45 pounds. And by the time I graduated, I wasn't completely at my goal just yet, but I was getting pretty confident, and I was getting pretty close to my goal. So I was continuing to work to my goal even after I graduated, and then just maybe a couple of months, give or take, then I made my goal completely. So I stuck with it. But it is possible to be on a diet and use portion moderation even as a college student, even at a university, in your senior year of college. So it's possible. It's definitely doable. But it's not gonna be easy, but it's doable. So I've experienced the body shaming, and in the beginning, like I said, I experienced as a super thin girl where people accuse me of being anorexic. And I tell them, like, no, I'm not anorexic. I can eat. And they're not believing me. So it's like just really frustrating to have to constantly explain myself. And not that I needed to explain myself, but that level of body shaming where you're telling someone what you do, I eat. I've eaten. Not to say I've never been anorexic before, but at that time I was confused. At that time I was accused of being anorexic. I was not. I was never anorexic in my childhood, ever. And I was accused of it. So it just pissed me off. And it's just very annoying. So then on the other side of that, when I gained weight, I was heavier. There's like people that have this damn what happened kind of attitude. That's like, you were thin before and now look at you, you're Melissa. Oh my goodness. Like I just hit rock bottom or something. And it's like, I don't think weight gain should have to be like that. I don't think it should have to be this big devastation where it's like wow, like she is just at the lowest of the low because she put on some weight and now she's not attractive anymore. Like her life is over, and I don't think it should have to be like that. Like there was one time my mother-in-law, she thought I was pregnant. She thought I was pregnant because my stomach was fat. I was heavy set and my stomach poked out. And that's one of the things I hate about being overweight. The stomach always pokes out. Always. This is the least attractive part of me. And it shows. Any weight gain, it always shows in the stomach. So I was very self-conscious about that. And but I wasn't conscious enough. I wasn't self-conscious enough to do something about it. I just kind of let it sit because I was comfortable in being uncomfortable, which is weird because I was really uncomfortable with the weight. I hated it, but I wouldn't take the steps to exercise at that time. But when I heard her say that kind of prompted me to say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna use my getting offended by her comment as fuel to do something about this. Not for her, but for me. Because when you get offended by something, that just means that it's something within you that, like, you have a personal issue with yourself. Like, it's a problem that you see in yourself, which is why you got offended about it in the first place. So it's an insecurity, So I had to acknowledge that, and I had to do something about my body, not for her, but for me. So, and I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did it. So, and that was, I can't remember when that took place, and now I'm relatively thin again. I lost some of the muscle tone that I had once I accomplished a 45-pound weight loss recently within the last 2 years. I lost the muscle mass because I stopped working out, and I'm slowly trying to get back into it. But trying to do it without cardio, because once I implement the cardio, that's when I start to get thin. And even since like I was a kid, believe it or not, like I loved being thin, but then I love curves too. And like I always admired curves as a kid because I saw that as womanly. And I noticed that there were young kids like in my age bracket at that time in elementary school, and they were curvaceous. They had big breasts, maybe even a little hourglass, And I mean, they really don't get that until junior high, but there are girls who develop early. But I always noticed they had big breasts, and it made me envious because I'd always wanted big breasts. So, one thing is just like, I still get body shamed even after the 45-pound weight loss. Even up until recently, I get body shamed, not for being overweight because I'm not overweight anymore, but I get body shamed for not being as curvaceous. And that's the part that pisses me off because, and I'm insecure about that because I want to be more curvaceous, but I'm trying to figure out how to tap into that and how to get my body to obey in the way that I want it to, because I was told that you can't pick and choose where you want to lose weight and gain weight, and you just kind of lose it all over. And I would love to be curvaceous. I would just love to be like a natural Kim Kardashian, so to speak, like I would love that body. Like I love curves so much. I appreciate all body types. And just recently I caught myself thinking that like with the body shaming I've been getting recently, and I have been getting a lot of it, but it's like I can count on my hand how many times I've gotten body shamed recently, like on Facebook, and like people I know on a personal level, like a couple of people, and supposed to be my friends, and they'll say something about how you'd be so much prettier if your breasts were bigger. It's like, what the fuck? Or I would love for you to have a fat ass. And I'm like, what? And it is very upsetting because, like, first of all, you're not supposed to be looking at me in that way anyway. Because I'm already taken, number one. And number two, you say that I'm a beautiful woman. And yeah, you want to admire a beautiful woman because everybody has eyes. You can look. You can't touch, but you can look. But like, you're not fully appreciating me for the beauty that I am. If you're picking apart what's wrong with me and like telling me how this needs to be bigger and that needs to be smaller, and like you're putting me on some imaginary surgery table, and like cutting up the parts that you don't want and adding to the parts that you do want. Like, I'm not your project. You know what I mean? You love me for who I am. You take it or you leave it. And body shaming is extremely damaging. Stop doing it. Please stop doing it, because there are women out there who are committing suicide all because of some image that they believe they need to aspire to, all because of these images that society puts on us. And like there was a time where I thought my husband was body shaming me. I talked to him about it, and he said he wasn't trying to, but I saw it as body shaming because I was overweight, and I was classified as obese, like according to a doctor, which is what prompted me to lose the 45 pounds in the first place. So I wanted to be healthier, like I said, and of course I'm gonna care what my husband thinks, So he giving me little gentle little warnings, like, I notice you're picking up some weight. You might want to take care of that. And I saw that as body shaming because it's like, wait a minute. But then he said, well, Melissa, I know you, and I know you don't want to look like that. So I thought I'd remind you or give you just a little gentle nudge just to let you know that I see what you don't want to see. And I'm like, nice try, but nah. No, you just body shamed me, So it's like, and I mean, if I bring this up to him, he'll probably still, we'll have a little debate about it. But yeah, I'm just giving you an example of how it could be damaging, because as a woman especially, you want to be sexy to your man. You want your man to love all of you for who you are. You don't want him to pick apart the things that he likes and doesn't like. And if only I could give you some free surgery, I give you a bigger this and a smaller that. Like, that's not love. Love is appreciating someone for who they are as a complete package. Like, I would never go to him and say your penis needs to be bigger. Or I wouldn't, or any woman to go to any man and say, I need you to have a bigger penis. Is just like, that's like the worst thing you could ever say to a man. And that's a part that he has a complex about. So that's something I just wanted to talk about. It was like kind of weighing on me. And yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about that. So with my weight loss, I've been pretty confident, with the exception of the body shaming that has been coming my way a handful of times, maybe like 3 times or so. It's not like something I get on an everyday basis, but yeah, I'm just saying, you want to appreciate my beauty, appreciate it, but take all of me for what I am. Yes, take all of me for who I am. Please don't pick apart what you think is wrong with me and tell me that this needs to be tweaked and that needs to be tweaked. Yes, I mean, I'm not extremely thin. I'm not stick thin the way I used to be. I have a little bit more meat. However, my body's my body. And if I do want a bigger butt or bigger breast, that's something for me to decide in time. If I decide I want surgery to acquire that, then that's up to me. If I don't want surgery, that's up to me. So what you should be getting from this episode is that the way my body looks, if I decide to bust my ass and get my body into the gear that I'm desiring, then that's all up to me. Those are the key words. It's up to me. And if it bothers you that much that I don't have a bigger this and the bigger that, you can fund surgery from me. Give me a full ride. Give me a full ride. And I'll consider it. So if you're willing to pay my bill, then let's talk. So I just want to say that. So surgery is not something that I really want right now. Unless maybe, I'm not sure about implants, because the thing about that is I don't like maintenance. I don't like the idea of getting something implanted and then like 10 years down the line I have to get it refreshed, and I don't, Okay, because it becomes a lifelong thing where it's like I have to go in for maintenance. I don't like maintenance. Believe it or not, I might look like I like maintenance, but I really don't. I like to be as like low key as possible, just very, very low maintenance as possible. My hair is get up and go for the most part. Actually, today was get up and go. I fell asleep like this and I kept it up. I just, put water on the sides. They tucked it into the ponytail holder to make sure it stays in place. I can be a bit of a tomboy like that. I'm just very I can be low maintenance. I have my low maintenance moments. And that's my way of like achieving freedom. That's how, because I love to be free. I don't like to be a slave to anything. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Stay tuned. I'll be looking forward to spicing up your life one episode at a time. And I'm just wrapping this video up because it's super long. But I just wanted to let you guys know because I was just very, I was bothered. But it's done now. I'm happy. All right, take care. All right, bye-bye. Okay, so one last thing. So, yeah, like in my insecure mind with the recent body shaming, it caught me thinking that maybe I shouldn't have even lost the 45 pounds in the first place, because someone had brought to my attention that I'm even sexier when I am fuller, So, I don't know. It just kind of really fucks with your head when you're told that you'd be so much sexier, you'd be so much prettier if you were thinner or if you had gained some more weight. And I worked so hard to lose that 45 pounds. I shouldn't be made to feel like losing it was a big mistake. That's my point.